Alright, let's begin.
We are going to go through the story of every single Resident Evil game that we've played on the channel, plus the ones that we haven't, just so that everyone can get caught up to speed on the story of this dumb series.
Okay.
I've been playing the
I have to jigger, think of the vibe.
loving them, so this is gonna be fun.
Look, Resident Evil story is bad. Like, we did a lore stream before for another game that had a really bad lore and story, but it doesn't compare. It doesn't compare to this dumb bullshit. This
Not
is
at all.
Yeah, illegal.
Categorically the dumbest fucking story for like a horror franchise that I've ever seen.
I'm not the biggest fan,
And I love
but
it.
I love listening to you
I was gonna
guys
say,
talk, so
Resident
this will be
Evil
fun.
is one of the few game franchises I can name where the fans will collectively say, yeah, the story sucks, but God, do we love it!
I want more. Give me more slop. Capcom, please, more slop. Like we get the new games, and the new games are like very disconnected from the rest of the fucking the stupid goddamn universe. But every time that Umbrella comes back, or the Connections comes back, or like the family, or like the C virus or whatever, like we go like, oh, this dumb shit. They're talking about the dumb shit again. Yes.
Umbrella?
Umbrella.
That was literally Village. That was literally Village just like, oh, it's super disconnected. Oh, the dumb shit's back!
The
Oh my
dumb shit
God,
back!
I missed it!
Please sprinkle. Don't.
On this series,
A lot of people
ready for mate.
Thank you.
Go, the last.
Japan. For this time.
Oh, I was both indulging two hyperfixations at the
ready.
same time. Like, yesterday was wonderful.
Me and Nick, like a few days ago, like Nick came over to my place and we watched two of the dumb Resident Evil animated CGI movies that are canon to the games.
Yep.
And like, we went into them like, okay, the first one kind of sucked, the second one kind of good, but that we realized and we
But
talked
also
about the story.
useless.
Yeah, we talked about the story and we went like, hold on a second, this movie is actually just useless though. Nothing actually happens to move anything forward. Leon could have just left within the first 10 minutes of the movie and everything would have just turned out the same. It's
You know what's wonderful about that too, by the way, that I
Yeah?
didn't bring up before stream? You guys watch the movies that I need a refresher on. I watch the ones that you need a refresher on, because I watched the two that you didn't.
perfect.
Right.
Yeah, we are perfect for this. Okay, excellent. I think that's mostly it. I think I presented what we're gonna be doing pretty well. Is everybody confused? Just to make sure that everyone is on the same page as us, we are gonna be covering the games. Hold on. Let me get the list. Hold on. I would like be moving around papers, but like we don't use paper anymore. We use like Discord DMs. Hold on.
We were friggin' in each other's DMs like, oh, throw this game in there, throw this game in there. Oh, we need to talk about
We
this
need
one.
this one. So we are going to be covering Resident Evil 1 Remake, Resident Evil 0, Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3, Resident Evil Code Veronica X, Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil 4 Separate Ways, Resident Evil 5, Resident Evil 6, Resident Evil 7, Resident Evil 8, Revelations 1. Hey, Rocky Star, thank you for the £5.
Whenever I'm doing lower.
Hell yeah.
Just here to say have fun talking about re-lore. Also, we have tapped news on Glitch channel.
Great. Oh yeah, I think there's a Kane plushie going on right now. I'm gonna buy the shit out of that after this is over.
Oh, really?
Looks really cute.
Yeah. Revelations 1, Resident Evil Revelations 2, Resident Evil Survivor, Resident Evil Chronicles, Umbrella Chronicles, and Darkside Chronicles, the Resident Evil Degeneration, Damnation, Vendetta, Death Island, and not Infinite Darkness because that one really fucking sucks. I don't want to
Yeah,
talk about
Infinite
that
Darkness just kind of sucked.
I haven't seen it.
one. We will not be talking about the Resident Evil live-action movies because those occur in their own separate continuity. And all the good stuff that you can take from that is just ripped off from the games.
Someone
Fair enough.
asked about Gaiden. Isn't Gaiden like RE1?
No, Gaiden is... Okay, Resident Evil Survivor 4 Gaiden Dead Aim is a game that came out not in America. It was like Japanese only, I believe. And That one is not really canon because it is never mentioned anywhere ever again, and is like made by a completely different branch away from Capcom. It is still very stupid though. There is actually a trans villain in there. One of the main villains of that game transforms themselves into a sexy lady tyrant with electrical powers and with bio heals. But aside from that,
I remember
Go,
that.
girl.
but aside from that, there's not much to say about it. Like, it's just some guy goes into a boat, finds like a Chinese super spy.
I'm losing brain cells listening to this shit.
And stops a guy that like an ex-Umbrella employee, like a disgraced Umbrella employee, from like destroying the world, and that's about it. But that's going into a boat to save the world is like par for the course of in the Resident Evil universe at this point. Yeah. Electric boobies, yeah, exactly. That's about it for Gaiden. Like, we're not gonna talk about that one because like it's way too much for way too little, to be honest. And we need to focus on the main ones because we're gonna be here for 8 hours.
We are going to, just from Resident Evil
yeah.
1, we're gonna be here for so long.
I have to mention, chat, and I will say this to both Zach and Nick. If it's been like 5 hours or 8 hours and we're still in Resident Evil 3 or 4, we're gonna pause the stream and we're gonna continue next week. Cause
Okay.
for the last lore stream, we were here for what? 10 hours? 11 hours?
10 and a half hours.
And that includes just like 8 games that barely have any fucking story. These series actually has a story. So
Hello, Slime Man, and
And
happy birthday.
we don't know
I'm
how long this is gonna
realize-
be.
Spaghetti Cigarette.
I give way more of a shit about these games too, so I'm gonna have more to talk about. I'm gonna have much more heated opinions.
Yeah. So we are gonna be here for a while, and if it becomes way too long,
Jesus.
we will split the stream into a second part for the next week. Hopefully that's understandable for everybody. Did you see this Netflix show?
Have you seen
No!
the Netflix show about
No.
Ray?
No!
And how it's nothing like the games
Oh,
or even
I did.
movies.
You
Not to
did?
mention the weird
I
lines.
did.
Was it good?
Reluctantly, I did. No!
No!
No! You insane?
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, we're not gonna be talking about the Netflix show. That is not really relevant.
No, I forgot about it.
Remember when the creators of that Netflix show said that it ran into the games taking inspiration?
Yeah.
It's like, fuck you, it isn't, fuck you. What the fuck are you talking about?
Somehow.
Do you ever see Welcome to Raccoon City?
No, I haven't.
But I saw
Yeah.
the cow flying off after the city was blown up at the end. That shit was
Yeah.
funny.
The
Like,
shit
somehow they
uh,
mixed 1 and 2, and I don't think that works at all. Because,
I think the city was
you know,
burning down while Stars, Bravo, and Alpha Team was exploring the mansion, which makes no fucking sense.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
Also, you get to see fucking, like, Lisa Trevor at the RPD, if I recall correctly.
Shut the fuck up.
Really?
What
Yeah.
the fuck?
Ugh.
She fights a liquor.
She's trying to fight. She's trying to fight her mother in the RPD. What?
Yeah, doesn't find her there if you believe that.
Thank you, Ravenlock Wins, for the $10. Okay, we're gonna just start. I'm gonna thank everybody for the donations, and we're just gonna start talking. We need some kind of structure for this stream. So, thank you, Ravenlock Wins, for the $10. Thank you, Cartoon Queen, for the $5. Thank you, Chrissy, €2. Thank you, Static Soul, for the $5. Thank you, Dan, for the €5. Thank you, Kinda Graceful, for the $2. Thank you, Jay, for the 16 months. Thank you, Lugs, for the super chat. Thank you, Nano Abyss, for the $5. Thank you, Dav, for the super chat. Thank you, Static Soul, for the $5 again. Thank you, Roll. Welcome.
Chris and
1990 something. Capcom released Resident Evil for the PS1. This is the intro to that game. Look at that crunchy ass fucking intro.
Oh, my
Oh,
God.
I'm so ready to see this old ass opening.
Oh, the live action one?
Yep.
Resident Evil.
Resident Evil.
Please tell
1996.
Oh, I was really hoping this would be the one that shows the whole cast with live action actors.
Yes, don't worry.
Okay,
So this game
okay.
was released by Capcom in 1996. And it blew the hell up because it was like an actionized spiritual successor to Alone in the Dark. Alone in the Dark was a PC game that's like very primitive graphics, like pre-rendered graphics with like extremely low poly characters that had like weird magical bullshit and shit. This is basically Capcom's take to Alone in the Dark, and it turned out to be one of the biggest horror franchise ever made because of the gameplay, because people found it very scary, and like the story was great, and like it became like a cultural phenomenon both in Japan and in the West. For those that do not know, Resident Evil is actually called Biohazard in Japan, and they changed the name to Resident Evil in America because apparently Biohazard was like a band in America, and they didn't have the copyright for that.
He already thanked me for.
Right.
I think I'm one of his favorites.
Thank you, Snoodle.
LOL.
And also because
This
yeah, that was probably a good thing, because like, isn't Resident Evil 7 called Biohazard? So technically, if it wasn't changed, the Japanese version would have been called Biohazard Biohazard. Sorry.
is the story of Resident Evil 1.
Oh my god, the old
Oh.
character selection.
Yeah! In Resident Evil 1, you play as either Jill Valentine or Chris Redfield. Canonically, I do believe that Jill is the canon storyline for Resident Evil 1.
Chris Redfield's the pussy. I'm just kidding.
1998, July. Raccoon City Forest.
Cool Forest.
Alpha Team is flying around the forest zone situated in northwest Raccoon City, where we're searching for the helicopter of our compatriots Bravo. Of recent,
It gets super
Bravo
cool.
Team went to the hideout of the group and disappeared.
Can I put on subtitles? No.
Look, Chris!
That's the first line of Jill Valentine in the entire series. Look, Chris.
This live action footage.
That someone filmed in like the back lot garden of the Capcom
It
offices.
was Bravo Team's helicopter. Nobody was in it. But strangely, most of the equipment was still there.
Wesker
However, we
with the fucking glasses. This voice acting sucks. You don't even know.
You are not ready.
Hey! Come here!
Someone said mustard Wesker.
Wait, that wasn't me who donated. That was an alternate.
Oh my god!
Oh no, a mask.
It's so low FPS.
Man, Resident Evil became so ridiculous after 4.
Joseph!
Yeah, specifically.
Yeah,
after
that one
four,
take,
yes.
one take. It was fine. That was not. You just needed to say one name. Oh shit, and that's all you could do. Joseph!
Joseph!
Like she ran away and shot at nothing, and then eventually waited to say that line.
No!
Don't go!
Bitch.
Stretches out his arm. Oh.
Oh man.
Oh man.
Oh man! Damn.
Jill, run for that house!
The mansion. Here we go.
Let's go.
Here we go.
Here we go. Here we go.
Chris Redfield.
Give it up for mine 14.
Jill Valentine.
Let's go.
That's just a kid. That's like a teenager.
that's
I
like-
got for
that's
this
so
fucking
fucking
live
cool.
action bit. Barry.
Rebecca Chambers.
Rebecca.
Mental slugging music.
Albert.
Yeah. Plot typo.
So divine.
38 years old.
Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Why was that actually kind of fucking heat? Not gonna lie.
They have escaped into the mansion where they thought it was safe. Yet.
What is this? Wow. What a mansion.
Captain Wesker, where's Chris?
Stop it. Don't open that door.
Like a fucking YouTube poop. It's like, for those that don't understand,
I love how the dogs sound like Sharp Tooth from Land Before Time.
for those that don't understand, the reason for why the voice acting in this original game is so bad is because this was made by Japanese people that had no knowledge of the English language.
It'll never be House of the Dead levels of voice acting.
No, it gets there, Matthew. Like, I fully believe that it's up there with House of the Dead, too. Like, the Japanese developers took a bunch of, like, foreigners off the street for Resident Evil 1 and just told them, hey, can you say English words at the script? Can you read the script? Can you say words at the script? And they say, yeah, I can, no problem. And then we ended up with this magnificent piece of voice acting where they took every single syllable that the character said and they edited it together to make it sound the coolest in the Japanese, like, developers' heads. They didn't understand what they meant, they said, right? They didn't know what the characters were saying, so they just took every single soundbite that they produced and cobbled it together into the most coolest version of that line possible. So you get this awkward, like...
Stop it. Don't open that door.
Stop it! Don't open that door!
But Chris is...
Right.
What is it? Maybe it's Chris.
It's art.
Now, Jill, can you go?
I'm going with you. Chris is our old partner, you know.
Okay. Let me handle this.
I love Barry
God.
so much.
Stay alert.
Stay alert! Alright, so that is the intro to Resident Evil 1. Ah! Who wants to start? Ah! Stop it! Ah! What the fuck?
What?
What? Where? Where's it coming from?
It's playing the video. It's playing the video.
There we go.
There you go.
Ah! Stop it! Ah! Okay, I'm not gonna change sprites. Otherwise, it starts again for some reason. Ah! Wait!
Stop it! What?
Okay, now we should be good.
That should be good, right?
Do it again.
Okay.
Okay, we're just gonna keep it in this mode for now.
Getting flashed. Oh my god.
Okay, who wants to take the floor first? Does anybody want to start? Zach, you want to say something? Nick?
Sure.
Dude,
Okay.
I didn't even finish this game.
Yeah, okay, Zach.
We want like a brief summary of the opening, the basic plot synopsis of RE1.
Yes.
Okay, so as shown in that immaculately filmed opening from the original game, the whole deal with Resident Evil 1 is that it takes place in the Arkley Mountains by Raccoon City, which that's going to be a place you're going to hear about a lot. Just get ready for that. Where basically a string of murders have been occurring around the mountains where...
The fact Resident Evil, this was actually Resident Evil, and that was how it was made, and it's gone to the point where there's actual fucking games on the PlayStation 4 and spin-off titles. That's nuts.
people have been reporting groups of people attacking a bunch of civilians. People are coming up with corpses that are literally found mangled and half eaten. And the STARS unit, Special Tactics and Rescue Service, was essentially sent to these mountains after another team went missing to go and investigate what was going on up there. So we've got
sandwich complete awkward silence. Oh, stop you.
Sorry.
Don't worry. Don't worry. The Static Soul is referencing. We have an entire 10-minute video to watch the fucking horrible voice acting. So don't worry. You're wondering roughly the $10.
Do you think they should add
yeah. So
since people
Stars ends up going up into the Arklay Mountains to try and find where Bravo Team went. And upon arriving there, they are attacked by a group of mutated dogs, which forces them to run into this seemingly abandoned mansion. And as shown there, the STARS unit consists of quite a few characters, but the most important ones for Resident Evil 1 are Wesker, Chris Redfield, Jill Valentine, Barry Burton, Rebecca Chambers, our homie Brad, who wasn't in that cutscene, but he's important. Don't forget about Brad.
Pilot.
Exactly. We all love Brad. Oh, and don't forget Joseph. Yeah. So STARS unit ends up getting trapped inside this mansion. Jill and Chris get separated and go on their different campaigns, which is really confusing because both of their campaigns are like proposed as being like happening at the same time, but also stuff happens in both campaigns that, you know, happen to both characters, just swapped. Like it's really weird. The two different story routes for both Jill and Chris are weird.
That is something that I have to explain. There are actually many of the Resident Evil games have multiple endings. We have in the first one a scenario for Jill to explore the mansion, and we have a scenario with Chris exploring the mansion. Now, we also have the remakes to take into account for the story. There will be a lot of times here in this stream where we will just talk about the general story of the games, but some of the minor details will have to be left out because the canon here is very fluid. You will have scenarios where characters start referencing past events and future games, and those events make no fucking sense because characters start dying and reappearing and appearing and getting trapped or like getting kidnapped in various locations, seemingly with no coherence in the timeline, because sometimes they have to be there to help out one character escape and to kill another character. Like in Resident Evil 1, if you choose Jill to play, Chris is stuck in a prison for the entirety of the Resident Evil storyline. But then, future Resident Evil stories show Chris and Jill exploring the mansion together, which is incoherent because the entire game relies on Jill wanting to find Chris or Chris wanting to find Jill and discovering the reason for why they went missing. It is stupid.
Yeah,
it's
and
really
like
weird.
Adding on to that too, I won't go into detail about how Resident Evil 1 ends because we'll get to that. But like details like the ending, for example, the ending of Resident Evil 1 plays out the exact same way no matter which campaign you pick, except the character you pick is just in the place of the other.
Yep.
So if you play as Jill for her campaign, the ending plays out the exact same way, except it's Jill doing it. If you pick Chris, exact same ending, but now it's Chris doing it. So it's like both of their campaigns are treated like separate storylines happening at the same time, but there's overlap there where it's like, okay, so which one's the canon one who was here in this ending?
Like, for this game, you have Jill being accompanied by Barry Burton trying to find Chris. And then you have Chris being accompanied by Rebecca Chambers trying to find Jill. And Resident Evil 0 is a prequel to this and establishes that Rebecca was inside and survived the events of the Arklay Mountains. Which means that Chris exploring the mansion with Rebecca is 100% canon because that's her story. That's what she's supposed to be doing in the story of these games. But then you have Barry, which appears in Resident Evil 3 to help out Jill, so their stories are also concurrently also canon at this. Weird Nem says on the chat, it's all canon if you try hard enough. Like, we're already at the start of the series. It's the first game in the franchise, and we are already merging canons together in one single game. All y'all motherfuckers with your mascot horror games ain't got shit on this stupid fucking thing. We are trying to find out what's canon or not in this franchise, and you know what? We enjoy it because it's fun. It's fun speculating about this dumb bullshit. Anyways.
Yeah, like, I think the general rule of thumb to have as a Resident Evil fan to help you understand, in future titles, the canon ending to things is just whatever suits the story at the moment.
The canon ending, if something is referenced in future titles, that means that it was canon in the previous game. If not, forget about it. Anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
that's confusing.
Both Chris and Jill go through this mansion, the Spencer Mansion, a spooky mansion in the middle of the woods. And they find zombies in there, and they find tapes, and they find little notes around that talks about a mysterious corporation. This corporation... Oh, no, hold on.
The Jill sandwich. The evil
Jill
corporation.
This corporation is supposed to be behind the events of the entire series. It's called the Evil Umbrella Corporation, a pharmaceutical company that is pretty much behind the events of every single event in the entire of the franchise. But before we get to the Umbrella Corporation, I want to show some dumb shit. Because Resident Evil 1 Original has some of the best voice acting in the entirety of the video game industry. One of the most iconic scenes that you need to pay attention to, because this gets actually brought up later, like 20 years into the future, is the infamous Resident Evil Jill sandwich scene.
I don't know what this is. What is this?
Thank you, Night Demon.
Hey, what's going on?
Jill? Is that you, Jill? What happened?
Barry, help me, please. The door won't open. Quick!
Stay away from the door, Jill. I'm gonna kick this door down. Hurry! This way!
Oh, Barry!
That was too close. You were almost a Jill sandwich.
You're right. Barry, thanks for saving my life.
Yeah.
But Barry, didn't you say you're going back to the dining room to do some research?
The silence.
Or are you here?
I just had something I wanted to check. Now, let's get back to searching for the lost captain and Chris, shall we?
Bye-bye, Barry!
Barry is so good at hiding secrets.
Thank you, Barry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Thank you, Night Demon.
Thank you.
Anyways, so continuing on from there. Fuck! Stop!
Oh my god, no. Okay, leave it like this.
Every time there's a video, we need to not
Right before.
Right before. Okay. So what's actually happening in the Arklay Mountains? Zach?
Thank you for giving me the floor. I want to talk about Lisa Trevor so bad. Okay, so, basically, to give you the simple rundown, in the Arklay Mountains, the Spencer Mansion that this entire game takes place in was the home of Umbrella's founder, oh my god, what was his name? Forget Oswald Spencer.
Oswald Spencer.
Oswald Spencer. And essentially, this mansion and its purpose was both his living quarters as well as a secret laboratory where they were testing and experimenting on a virus called the progenitor virus. This progenitor virus would later on be mutated and changed into what the series is like the most iconic virus in the series, the T virus. But at the time, it was just the simple progenitor. Now, what ended up happening was that there was a massive outbreak of this virus in the facility, which ended up causing all the zombies to start turning and killing people. But as well as that, there were some other bioweapons and monsters that were experimented on and got out. The one that I'm most fascinated by, and easily my favorite monster in the original Resident Evil, is that freaky tentacle monster over to the right named Lisa Trevor. Now, fun fact about this monster, Lisa Trevor was not in the original game that we keep using clips from. She was actually added in the remake of Resident Evil 1. And
really?
she was added retroactively to the remake. And she is easily one of the most interesting characters, because if you look at that photo next to her,
because Resident Evil 3, obviously I know the reason why, because in Resident Evil 3, they introduced, the tyrants through Nemesis, and therefore, when they remaked 1 and then eventually 2, they added this bitch and then Mr. X. Which makes sense, but,
of the family, that is the family of the architect who was responsible for building the Spencer Mansion. I'm blanking on his name. Was his name George Spencer? Am I remembering? Or not Spencer. Oh my God, Trevor.
Yeah, George Trevor.
Thank you. George Trevor was the architect who was responsible for building the Spencer Mansion, as well as the secret lab that was underneath it. And once he had finished constructing this building for Spencer, Spencer immediately was super paranoid about keeping this guy alive because he's the only other person alive now who knows about the secret lab's existence and knows the layout of this entire building. So Spencer made quick work to kill George Trevor, who spent a long time hiding within the building after he found out they were trying to kill him, but eventually I believe he starved to death, hiding from Umbrella.
Yes.
Yes.
And Spencer, first thought the job was done, but realized, oh shit, no, wait, George Trevor had a family. He had a wife and a daughter. I need to get rid of them too so that they're not suspicious. So what ended up happening was, the Trevor family was taken to the Spencer Mansion as a tour of the father's creation. And turns out they were there to get killed.
Yep.
So
Cover up
Spencer
the
ended up
tracks.
kidnapping. Exactly. Spencer ends up kidnapping George Trevor's wife as well as Lisa Trevor. And the two of them became experimental subjects for the progenitor virus. The mother, who I'm blanking on the name of.
Lisa? No, that's the name of the daughter.
Yeah, that's the daughter. The mother ended up not being a suitable host for the virus, so they end up killing her.
Jessica Trevor.
Jessica Trevor, thank you. Jessica Trevor was not a very suitable host for the virus, so they ended up killing her. Lisa, however,
She's special.
She was very, very special. She took to the virus incredibly well. Better than any of their test subjects even. So what ended up happening to Lisa Trevor was she was given possibly one of the worst fates of any character in this entire franchise, where anytime they wanted to test a new strain of this virus, any form of mutation or change in it, they would first use it. Exactly, they would first use it on Lisa. So most monsters you see in the Resident Evil series, they are a byproduct of one or maybe two different viruses. Lisa, however, is essentially this amalgamation of every single different strain of the virus that Umbrella came up with, because she was just their favorite guinea pig to test on.
That's fucking horrible. That is really fucked up. Oh my god, that's more fucked up than Ooh.
She's seemingly immortal and now roams the mansion. Now that everyone is infected and dead inside of the mansion, she basically just roams trying to find the remains of her her mother.
Because that's the other thing, is that while they experimented on her, she was obsessed with getting back to her parents without knowing, she had no idea that they were killed already. So Umbrella, now scared of this immortal monster they created, ended up trying to find ways to control her. They would shackle her up, and most notably was that they began taking other, like, staff members who vaguely resembled her parents, and they had them play the role of essentially imposter parents that would pretend to be both George and Jessica Trevor. Thing was, though, Lisa could tell the difference between her real parents and the staff members of Umbrella, so she began killing every single pair of staff members that was given to her to be her fake parents. She would rip off their faces, sew them together, and create a mask for herself that was a sewn together amalgamation of all her fake parents' faces. Because her own face from all of the experiments they did on her was literally rotting off, and she was waiting for the day.
The bones and the fucking the sinew and the the pink part of the teeth. You can see it like right underneath all the mask, and it's just completely screwed up. I don't think Jay even has a jaw.
I don't think she does. Her entire face is just like gone. And the whole thing is now she's roaming around the Spencer mansion to try and find her parents so they can give her her real face back. And in the meantime, she wears the faces of all her fake parents. Another fun fact about her is that eventually Umbrella was so scared of her that they tried terminating her and just getting rid of her.
Didn't work.
She came back. She just freaking got up again because they just created an immortal monster. And yeah, that's the role she plays in Resident Evil 1 is she's kind of like, in the Resident Evil 1 remake, she's kind of like your stalker type.
That's almost as scary as Nemesis. Like, oh my god, that's almost as like scary as Nemesis. I mean, maybe when we get to 3 in a minute, we'll just see how like, we'll get some extra, maybe we'll get some extra shit about Nemesis that's actually like more terrifying than her. But like, how terrifying would that be? Like you create something that's just immortal and you can't get rid of it or kill it or even control it, and like you have no other options to like get rid of it or anything, and it's just oh god, that really puts a chill down my spine.
You have random encounters with her. She is impossible to kill. You just have to avoid her to the best of your abilities. And yeah, in Resident Evil 1, she spends the entire game just roaming around the abandoned mansion, shackled up, trying to find her dead parents, not knowing that they're already gone.
You can see how fucked up the corporation of the Umbrella Corporation of the Resident Evil universe is. So Lisa Trevor is pretty much the heart of the Resident Evil 1 remake, but even in the original, you see all these notes of like test subjects and like humans that were like impacted negatively by the Umbrella Corporation, and it's all just tests for a pharmaceutical company that decided, hey, instead of making good medicine for people to like help them heal, I think it's actually much more profitable to be like purveyors of war and like create these bioweapons that to sell them to like the black market and sell them to like vulnerable countries that are like looking out for the like experimental weapons to like help them in their conflicts. The latter half of the Resident Evil storyline is all about the impact that Umbrella had on the world, because terrorists and a bunch of like evil people discovered that these bioweapons could be used for like conflict. So just Umbrella is essentially the originator for like the biggest arm race in weapon, like new type of weaponry for the entirety of the world. They're like the originator of evil in this universe. Not because they did everything bad, although they did a bunch of shit bad, but they basically kickstarted the arms race for the entirety of the world to use these fucked up evil bioweapons against each other. So most of the games are about the aftermath of what happened with Raccoon City and their Arclay Mountains and the experiments that happened in there. That's why this is so important, and that's why we're putting so much emphasis in the Resident Evil 1 game, because even though this game is so old, it's so yeah, there's anyway, so if you recap, mansion filled with zombies, experiments going on the New York.
Let me recap.
One of their This is a concept that is going to be crucial for the future of the stream, because the word combat data gets used in every single installment going forward.
Right.
Game.
And like,
I still don't get.
I'm
I still don't
sorry.
get what they mean with
It's
combat
stupid.
data. Like,
No, it's stupid.
like what?
It makes no
How
sense.
do
It
you use
literally
that?
makes no sense. It is actually nonsense.
For those that do not know, combat data literally just means we recorded a bunch of people fighting the bioweapons. And because we recorded them doing that, that will be useful in developing future bioweapons that will not get killed by the regular ass people. That is what they call combat data, which is apparently is worth millions of dollars. Like snuff films of people getting killed by the bioweapons is worth like millions of dollars in the black market. And they're it's very useful. It's like the lynch point of like the motivations of like half the fucking villains in this goddamn series. And one of the people that considered combat data to be extremely useful is one of the captain of the STARS unit, fucking Albert Wesker, who, in actually, is not only the captain of the STARS unit, but is also secretly working for Umbrella this entire time! Ooh!
Oh my god!
Oh,
You can see
unexpected.
You can see at the top right a fucking like real ass photo of like workers with lab coats and like Wesker's
And then
fucking
there's
face
Wesker.
photoshopped into like the right
Still
guy
wearing the shades.
with the shades. Yes, like they have the PS2 model like photoshopped into like a real ass photo of some scientists.
So funny how he always has his like glasses.
He loves
on.
shades. Yeah. Albert
he loves
Wesker.
them.
Albert Wesker is a blonde guy with sunglasses, and he never takes those off ever. Not even in the dark, fucking Arklay Mountains or the fucking Spencer Mansion, where it's pitch fucking black. This guy will never take off his glasses.
Oh my
He
God,
refuses.
That reminds me of one of his like weaknesses in like RE5. Oh my
Yes,
God.
yes, yes. It's
Oh my
fucking
God.
stupid. So,
Oh my
anyways.
God.
Now we have this corporation, we have the Umbrella Corporation, that fucked up and basically killed all these people in the mountains and released this virus out into the wild that is, like, killing people on the outskirts of Raccoon City. You have the founders of Umbrella, which are Oswell E. Spencer, James Marcus, which is the guy on the right here, and, I think it's Ashford, one of the Edward Ashford. Those are the three founders of Umbrella, and every single one of them gets a focus in future Resident Evil installments. But for now, this is Spencer's mansion. He is the main guy, the main dude that thought up of the concept of Umbrella in the first place, and his ultimate goal is to construct the ultimate bioweapon, which is that guy on the bottom right, called a Tyrant. A Tyrant is a special test subject that is
never mind.
infected with a T-virus, but instead of becoming a regular-ass zombie, they become a super soldier with a giant claw, with a giant, like, knife arm on the right, and, like, a giant exposed weak point heart in front of him, because fuck you. That is under complete control of Umbrella. Hey, Matthew,
And,
thank you for the
We're all
$5.
out of tank.
And if I may interject at this point too, I feel like it's time that we talk about something that I feel like is going to be a very important factor of the stream that we're going to need to do.
Yes?
Because you brought up T-virus, and earlier I was talking about progenitor virus. We're gonna need to bring up the differences here with
Right,
these
right,
different
right.
viruses in these games, because there's a lot of infections, and they're all important in some way.
Okay. So, basically, Umbrella is a pharmaceutical company that is experimenting with bioweapons. Thank you, Static Soul, for the $5. Umbrella found somewhere in Africa a very special little flower where inside of that flower there is a virus. And that virus is called the progenitor virus. Spencer just found it in a fucking random temple while he was exploring Africa, because, like, young Spencer loved exploring the world for some reason. The progenitor virus... Yeah! The progenitor virus is a very kind of weak virus that just kind of enhances a person's natural strengths. It provided comfort to the people in and around the temple by just, consuming the flowers. They got infected with this virus that didn't really actually do much for them. However, using this virus, if you take it and mutate it and adjust it, you can basically create every single virus of the entire series. The main one is called the T virus, named after Trevor, the Trevor virus or something, I think, maybe.
Tyrant. It's because they were using to make tyrants.
Yeah, tyrant virus, right, sorry. Yeah, the tyrant virus, which, upon infection, transforms the body of the victims into essentially super durable but super mindless cannibals. This is going to be very controversial. And actually, this gets retconned and unretconned during the series, but all the zombies that you meet in Resident Evil are not actually zombies. They are not undead corpses. They are manic, aggressive, living human beings infected by the T-virus that are very durable, and their flesh is rotting away because of the super mega metabolism of the T-virus, but they're not actually dead. Which is a very important point. Because, future installments will fuck around with that and try to, resurrect other people and stuff like that. But the main T-virus does not actually revive dead tissue. It just makes everything that it infects go crazy and bite people so that it can spread the virus through those bites.
Yeah.
Eventually, researchers at Umbrella use the T-virus with tyrants, which are basically people that have a very special resistance to the virus, similar to Lisa Trevor, and using the virus and some medical science bullshit in a test tube in a lab or some shit, they're able to create the tyrants, which are special infected that can sustain the virus mutations, and they're able to be controlled, and they're super strong, and they're super deadly, and they essentially want to sell these monsters to the black market so that they can get rich off of people suffering, I guess? Sure.
I guess,
Super
yes.
Super Soldier. It is actually very funny because... this is super fucking funny. In Resident Evil 1, you see at the very end, you go down into the lab, and Wesker shows, it reveals himself as the ultimate villain, the traitor of the STARS unit, and shows either Chris or Jill the tyrant in the lab tube thingy at the bottom of the lab. And he says, oh my god, this is the ultimate bioweapon. It's so amazing. Oh my god, this is such a amazing. It's he's going crazy over this magnificent pinnacle of technology. But what they don't know, what Capcom doesn't know, is that in the future, tyrants are fucking mass-produced. No problem. Over and over and over and over again. Resident Evil 2 has tyrants. Resident Evil 3 has tyrants. The movies have tyrants. For some reason, this one tyrant specifically was very dear to Wesker, but in general, tyrants are whatever for the Umbrella Company. There's an entire island that mass-produces them, but for some reason, the tyrant that was inside of the Arklay Mountains was really special to him. It was never explained. Because... in the original, it was thought that it was the only one tyrant that survived. But no, later it's revealed that there's a fucking hundreds of them later.
Well, okay, I think there is kind of an explanation for that. Because as far as I know, I may be wrong, it's been a while since I've played RE1.
Right.
This was the first proper successful tyrant.
Right.
And the reason why we see tyrants get mass-produced later is because later on, the friggin' Mr. X tyrant in RE2, they got that one's DNA and started cloning him. And that tyrant was made after this one.
Okay.
So, this was the first successful tyrant that Wesker would have seen, and after the events of RE1, they made the bigger, better one that would be mass-produced.
So, that is a good assumption, Zach. And if you go through the main storyline of the Resident Evil games... you may be correct, but Resident Evil Chronicles
Oh boy, here we go.
Resident Evil Chronicles would like to disagree with you. I'm just gonna, like, we're gonna continue. That's gonna be for later.
I think it's also important that chat knows that when it's wrong.
Right near outside the Arclay Mountain. No, wait. Never mind. No, wait. Never mind. I'm actually wrong. No, he gets to fight 2 super tyrants before the events of the Arclay Mountains, before he meets up with like fucking Alpha Team. The Spencer Mansion. This is so powerful, especially against living things. Don't open that door.
That was close. Thanks, Barry.
Yeah.
Don't mention it. What a monster. I can't believe... What the hell is this place anyway?
That's what I was going to say.
Now, there are a lot of rooms in that mansion that we can't get into because they're locked up.
Oh, how come both
To do with them.
He's just a prick! He's such a prick!
You see, there's the
messages?
Umbrella for my life.
Court order.
And his left arm is cuffed because he escaped.
Yeah, I can't do this anymore.
This explains the projection.
Before
5. Oh!
0.
Yeah. Rearranges his fucking. Yes. And it. The point
That's
that
Liquid Chris.
people is Chris for.
Yeah, it was small.
Right. I can't do this anymore.